welcome to my channel. My name is Stacy and I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to begin a null binding stitch. Well, first of all, what is null binding? Null binding or null binding is an ancient stitching technique that predates knitting and crochet. So it's like the great granddaddy or grandmommy. And so this is a very special skill that was used by our ancestors to create clothing, pieces of clothing, such as mittens, socks, hats, things like that. And thanks to archaeology, we know that, there are hundreds and hundreds of different null binding stitch variants that have been discovered all around the world. And so because I am focusing on the Medieval Viking Age, I'm going to be showing you one stitch in this video. It's called the Oslo stitch, and this is a great stitch for beginners. And I believe there are in total, I think there are 6 or 7 specific medieval null binding stitches that have been discovered in grave sites and different parts of the European region. And so it is very cool and very exciting to just to see, what our ancestors wore and how they created their clothing. So we're going to focus on the Oslo stitch, and I'm going to show you how to get started. All right, so to get started, you want to take one end of your yarn and push it through the needle hole. And then you're going to take the other end of your yarn, and you want to have like a few inches hanging out. Then you're going to take the other end, and we're going to set up the thumb. So there's a lot of different ways of doing this. Some people just wrap it around your thumb, but I like to do this. Just take the end there, okay, and have it hanging out of your pinky, and then bring the continuous part between your index and your thumb, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle and you're going to slide it up and twist, okay? So slide that up, twist, and you're going to push it underneath the yarn there, and you're going to you want to get a little grasp between the index and the thumb. Not a tight one, but a loose enough one where you can just pull that needle right through. And you're going to just keep pulling until you have a tie around your thumb. Again, or you can just, take the end, make a little tie like that, and just stick your thumb in it. So you want to leave that alone there. You're going to take your needle and you're going to just slide it. Okay, and we're going to twist. And you're going to push it underneath everything. Okay, and again, you're going to pull that right through the index and the thumb. You want to gently pull, and you start to see there is a new loop that has formed. So when you get these 2 loops, you're going to simply pull the old loop and bring it right behind the thumb there. Now, something to note is you always want to make sure, you want to check yourself and make sure that this yarn, the continuous yarn, is always underneath this loop here. Okay. Now we're going to continue. We're going to now push the needle through this first loop. We're going to twist, and we're going to push it underneath the yarn in between the index and the thumb. You see that? pull. Now we have a new loop that has formed. I'm going to take the old loop, put it behind the thumb, and we're going to repeat again. Twist, push under, pull out. You want to kind of have light tension with the index and the thumb. We have a new loop created, okay? Pull the old loop. You want to keep this off to the side. Never let it get over here. You want to keep it nice and neat. Now, this jumbly mess back here, don't pay any attention to it just yet. You want to leave that alone for a few times that you do this, because it is going to look messy and overwhelming. Don't worry. Bear with yourself. It's going to get better. So we're going to push it through the loop, twist, push underneath, pull the needle through. All right, so we're here at the end of the first piece of yarn. And now what we want to do is we want to add the next segment. In null binding, you have to break apart the fibers of the end. And this is why null binding was done with wool. Wool is a lot more workable with null binding, although you can null bind with other types of fiber as well, if you can manage. Then I take the next segment of yarn and I'm going to break one of the ends. And what you're going to do is you're going to join the two ends together. Okay, so here I have the two ends. And what I like to do is I just like to put one over the other and just kind of twist it in. If you have a little bit of water nearby, you can wet your thumb and just twist the two ends together. Okay, and you just want to be a little sensitive to that area. Now what I'm going to do is take the other end and I'm going to loop. Where'd it go? Wool everywhere. Okay, I'm going to loop the needle through. Now I'm ready to continue the length. So I'm going to put my thumb back in the loop. Here's where I've joined the two pieces together. And you're just going to continue as you were. So through the loop, twist, push under, pull the needle through. We don't want to pull too tight because we know that this is the area that is just connected. All right, so now that you have learned how to join two segments of yarn together, the next step would be to continue making your piece of garment that you are working on. So whether you choose to create a pair of gloves or socks or a hat, decide how much length you need for the width of the garment you're creating. I'm going to turn this into a pair of socks, so I'm really excited about that. So now I'm going to show you how to join rows and continue creating your garment piece. So what you should do is make sure that your thumb is ready, and you want to make sure that your first layer is not twisted. And what you need to do is you need to come to the end here. Okay, so you're going to make sure there's no twists, and you're going to find the first loop, and you're going to place your needle through that loop, and you're going to connect with the loop that you are continuing behind your thumb. So you're going to push through, twist, and push under. And what this is doing is it's joining, don't mind the tail there, it's joining the two pieces, but adding on. Again, you find that next loop there, push through, then push through the loop behind the thumb, twist, came out of the needle there. Okay, so you see here, this loop is connected. So you don't want that one, you want the next one. And again, checking to make sure the continuing yarn is underneath your thumb loop. All right, so you can see we've reached the end of the other segment, and the layers are starting to form the garment. Look how beautiful that is. So you'll want to keep adding yarn piece after yarn until you've reached the desired length of your garment. And so keep practicing. Again, this is the Oslo stitch, and hopefully this will help you in some way, and thanks for watching.